Vortex of Disgust is the third full length from Swedish death metal band Bastard Grave, and it doesn't mark a really dramatic shift from their discography thus far. I think the dramatic shift happened on their second album, where they had expanded upon the sort of nihilist and early Swedish death metal informed style that they had started with, which was very straightforward to begin with. I like to liken their actual Swedish death metal traits to a band, Macabre End, the precursor to God Macabre. It was a little bit punkish, a little bit doom, and all kinds of interesting. And that's kind of where I see this band kind of coming from their own angle. And they only get more interesting with each release. I think this one is slower. I think they're fitting in a little bit more with kind of the Undergang and Cerebral Rot kind of deal, where they've simplified some elements of their rhythmic impact to a tighter kind of carcass wield feeling without losing the Swedish death metal side of things, and they've included a new vocalist here who is a little bit more imposing and a lot more effective overall, even though I really liked Diorama of Human Suffering. So we'll listen to, what he has to growl here for a second and get back to it in a second. So, change comes with a little bit of compromise in most cases. And in this one, I don't think you're going to miss the sort of D-beat influenced affect of the early portions of the album, but they do quickly move away from that. It was a bigger part of the very steady pace and simple droning of that first album. Here, they've dialed it back for something that's a little bit more tightly wound, varietal, and just sonically more impressive. I think I think they worked with Greg Wilkinson here from Earhammer Studio on this, and of course that sounds great. He's got a long list of incredible sounding death metal albums coming from that studio, and this is definitely one of them. It'd be hard to walk away from this record and not feel like this, or to feel like this was not an improvement. I think it's better sounding, more effective. Everything about it is just a little bit better than what they had done before. And, it's not much of a point really, but I really like when this band slows down even more. They are kind of a mid-paced death metal band, but when they do move into death doom feeling and territory, that slowness, I think it really, maybe it just turns that dial in my head that was thinking God Macabre all along, and it works for me. I think there's some interest in Autopsy as death metal here that translates really well to their more Swedish affect. Uh, Otherwise, it's really just a good, easy to sit with album that has a lot of impressive riffs that sort of cycle back on each other and have a nice percussive quality to them. A lot more variety than the previous record, if that one was, maybe boring to you or whatever. So definitely an easy recommendation for me. It's a maybe more of a moderate recommendation depending on where you're coming from. I think that's just a typo in the graphic. It is a high recommendation. Um, and yeah, read more about what I have to say in the actual review and go check the album out.